Governance is one of those words that gets used a lot in AI, but often it stays vague. People talk about policies, committees, safety statements, compliance documents, or broad principles. Those things can matter, but they are not enough. If an AI system is going to act in the world, governance cannot remain outside the system. It has to become part of the architecture. It has to shape what the system can do, why it can do it, and who remains accountable afterward. So in this video, I want to explain what governance actually means inside an AI system, not as theory, as system behavior. Governance is not the same as control. Control asks, how do we stop the system from doing something bad? Governance asks, how do we determine what the system is authorized to do in the first place? A control layer may block outputs, refuse requests, or filter content. That can be useful. But once AI systems become agentic, output control is not enough. The problem is no longer only what the system says. The problem is what the system is allowed to do. An AI system that can use tools, modify data, trigger workflows, or affect access, money, identity, reputation, or opportunity needs governance. Governance connects capability to authority. A model may be capable of doing something. That does not mean it should be allowed to do it. A system may understand a task. That does not mean it has permission to execute it. Governance lives in the gap between capability and permission. Inside an AI system, governance has to answer 5 practical questions. First, what is the task? A vague task creates vague authority. If the system is told, handle this customer issue, does that mean read the record, update the account, issue a refund, send a message, or close the ticket? Those are different actions with different risks. Governance begins by defining the task clearly. Second, what authority does the system have? Authority is not intelligence. A capable system may have limited authority. A weaker system may still be dangerous if it has broad permissions. Can it read? Can it draft? Can it recommend? Can it act? Can it act without review? You do not want one giant permission called agent access. You want task-based authority, nothing more. Third, what data and tools can the system use? Not all available data should be used. Not all accessible data is authorized. A system may have access to a file, but that does not mean it should use that file for this task. The same is true of tools. A read tool is different from a write tool. A write tool is different from a destructive tool. Sending an email, deleting a file, publishing content, updating a record, issuing a refund, or triggering a payment are not the same kind of action. Governance should treat them differently. Fourth, what level of human review is required? Some actions can be automated. Some should be drafted by AI and approved by human. Some should require review because uncertainty is high. Some should require review because consequence is high even if the system is confident. Confidence is not authority. Governance is the layer that says, even if you can do this, are you allowed to do this here? Fifth, what happens when something goes wrong? A governed system needs failure paths. It needs to know how to stop safely, escalate, and avoid compounding harm. Ungoverned systems often fail by continuing. They keep trying. They improvise. They act as if completing the task matters more than preserving the boundary. But in a governed system, stopping can be correct. Asking can be correct. Escalating can be correct. That is not weakness. That is alignment. Every governed system also needs an audit trail. If no one can reconstruct what happened, then no one is accountable. A governed AI system should have a record. What instruction was received? What data was accessed? What tools were called? What action was taken? What authority boundary applied? Without this, governance becomes theater. The system may look safe from the outside, but there is no meaningful way to inspect its behavior. That is not acceptable for systems that affect real people. AI should increase human capacity, not deepen dependency. Governance is how that principle becomes architecture. Without governance, people become dependent on systems they cannot see into. They receive outcomes without explanations. They face decisions without appeal. They interact with agents whose authority is unclear. That is the road to digital feudalism. Governance inside an AI system is not just about safety. It is about power. It is about who has agency. A governed AI system should know its task, authority, data boundaries, tool boundaries, review points, failure paths, and audit trail. That is what governance actually means inside an AI system. Governance is the operational layer that turns intelligence into accountable action. If governance matters, audit trails matter. Because if an AI system acts and no one can reconstruct what happened, governance is only a claim. In the next video, I'll explain why AI systems need audit trails.